As the Formula One world turned its attention to the iconic streets of Monte Carlo for the Monaco Grand Prix, the spotlight was naturally on Charles Leclerc. The Monegasque driver had delivered an impressive performance in the early practice sessions, topping both FP1 and FP2. The headlines praised his dominance, and the atmosphere in his hometown was electric. It seemed like everything was falling into place for Leclerc, who has long dreamed of conquering his home race. But behind the scenes, buried within the complex layers of telemetry data, a completely different story began to emerge, one that has taken even Ferrari by surprise. Despite the initial appearance of Leclerc leading the charge, it was Lewis Hamilton, in only his first season with Ferrari, who ended up being the true revelation of the weekend. Telemetry comparisons, sector times, throttle traces, and braking. Data have now exposed a side of the story that couldn't be seen in the lap times alone. Engineers diving into the data noticed something unexpected. Hamilton wasn't just close to Leclerc. He was performing at an elite level in areas that truly matter, and doing so with precision, control, and consistency that shook even the most seasoned members of the Ferrari garage. Let's begin by looking at FP1. Leclerc topped the time. Sheets with a lap of 1:11.964, just ahead of Verstappen and Norris. At first glance, that would suggest a clear advantage, but a detailed breakdown of the sectors tells a different tale. In Sector 1, Hamilton was just 0.043 seconds behind. During Sector 2, he was even closer, only 0.01 seconds adrift. The major time loss came in Sector 3, which includes the most demanding corners of the track, the swimming pool, Tabac, and the tight chicane. Leclerc found 0.110 seconds in that final sector alone, giving the impression of a wider gap. His incredible commitment through turn 12 and superior apex speed created an illusion of dominance. However, in every other part of the circuit, Hamilton was right there, and not just in terms of time, but in technique. By FP2, the story began to shift even further in Hamilton's favor. Telemetry overlays revealed Hamilton gaining time in two key areas, turn 8 and the tunnel entry. These are sections where the Ferrari SF25 has traditionally struggled: rear traction issues, instability under braking, and unpredictable handling. But Hamilton's data told a different story. His throttle application was earlier, more consistent, and required less correction. His braking was smoother, more progressive, and better managed. These weren't small differences. They reflected a driver who was completely in sync with his car, one who was driving not on instinct alone, but with deep mechanical understanding and precision. This data left Ferrari engineers stunned. Charles Leclerc himself even admitted that he had begun observing and learning from Hamilton's style. In a rare and honest interview before the race, Leclerc confessed that he's been watching Hamilton's driving during debriefs, mimicking some of his techniques, and even adapting his own approach mid-race based on Hamilton's inputs. This is no small admission, especially considering Leclerc's stature within the team and his years of experience in that very car. One of the major technical changes Ferrari brought to Monaco was the reintroduction of the high downforce rear wing, a spec used during Leclerc's win in 2024. This wing increases mechanical grip and cornering stability, perfect for the slow speed corners of Monaco. It was meant to help both drivers equally, yet Hamilton appeared to be extracting more from it. His performance in low-speed rotation, especially in corners where precision and timing are everything, was far more consistent. Another tweak Ferrari made was adjusting the SF25's suspension stiffness and ride height based on data collected from Imola. This allowed the car to better absorb curbs and reduced the harsh rebounds that often make the car difficult to control. And again, Hamilton was the one benefiting the most. Telemetry from corners like Mirabeau and the hairpin showed Hamilton keeping the car flatter through the apex and more stable on corner exit. His power delivery was more confident and smoother. Leclerc, by contrast, was still fighting the car in these areas, often correcting mid-corner and losing momentum. Ferrari also made changes to the damper settings, which improved balance during load transitions. This allowed for better performance through the tight sections of the track, Combined with Hamilton's driving style, the effect was dramatic. It created a seamless connection between driver and car, and it's starting to influence how Ferrari wants to develop the SF25 going forward. By the time FP2 ended, Ferrari's engineers were no longer just focused on lap times. They were studying Hamilton's data closely. In Turn 8, for example, Hamilton was gaining up to 0.08 seconds on Leclerc. His line into the tunnel was cleaner, less aggressive, and more efficient. Into the braking zone before the chicane, Hamilton wasn't the last to brake, but he was the most stable. In Monaco, where margins are razor-thin and every tenth of a second matters, that stability translates directly into lap time. All of this points to a new reality within Ferrari. Leclerc may still be faster over a single lap, but Hamilton is becoming the team's reference in key areas. His ability to adapt to the SF25's quirks and find performance where others struggle is redefining Ferrari's internal hierarchy. Engineers are now using Hamilton's feedback as the foundation for simulations and setup directions. This isn't just a case of an experienced driver providing useful input. It's a complete shift in how Ferrari understands their car. The Monaco weekend could be a turning point in this internal dynamic. The SF25 is notoriously sensitive to setup changes, especially on tight street circuits. Hamilton's experience, particularly his smooth and methodical driving, has helped the team create more accurate race simulations. His influence is even being felt in Ferrari's strategic planning. His input has reshaped how Ferrari models tire degradation and virtual safety car scenarios. This is particularly important in Monaco, where one pit stop can determine the race outcome. Pirelli's choice of the softest compounds, C3, C4 and C5, always poses a challenge in Monaco, especially with full fuel loads. Historically, Ferrari has struggled with rear tire degradation on these compounds, especially on street circuits like Jeddah and Miami. But Hamilton's telemetry on Friday revealed something different. He was one of the few drivers able to maintain consistent rear tire temperatures during long runs. His corner exit behavior showed less wheel spin and reduced tire overheating. That's a huge advantage, especially when tire conservation is key to race strategy. This consistency is changing Ferrari's strategy options. Engineers are now calculating new delta windows and pit stop gaps based on Hamilton's long-run pace. His data has made alternative strategies, including early stops or undercuts, more realistic. Leclerc has traditionally pushed hard early, often wearing down his tires faster. That gives him an edge in qualifying, but can hurt him in longer stints. Hamilton's smoother approach could prove to be the winning formula on Sunday, especially if a virtual safety car is deployed. Under those conditions, Hamilton's ability to extend tire life without a significant performance drop-off could allow him to pit early and run to the end. This is now being seriously considered by the team as a preferred strategy. But the implications of Hamilton's performance aren't just technical, they're political too. This is Hamilton's first Monaco Grand Prix in red. The pressure is immense. Every radio message, every onboard camera, every gesture in the garage is being watched. How he performs in Monaco will have a lasting effect on how Ferrari's leadership allocates resources and trust. We've already seen the signs. At Imola, when strategy calls split the team, Hamilton's plan was the one Ferrari backed, and it paid off. That decision is still fresh in everyone's mind and could influence who Ferrari prioritizes when the pressure builds. Team principal Fred Vasseur's comments in Monaco only added to this. He openly stated that the SF25 has potential, but that potential needs to be unlocked. He also said that qualifying performance has masked the car's true race pace, a subtle hint that Hamilton's strengths may be more in line with what the team needs on Sundays. It's a shift in philosophy. In a place like Monaco, where overtaking is nearly impossible, race day adaptability becomes everything, and that's where Hamilton excels. The impact of Hamilton's approach is now reaching beyond just race day performance. Ferrari has quietly started adopting some of the structural practices Hamilton was used to at Mercedes. There's now more emphasis on driver feedback loops, better integration of telemetry analysis between sessions, and even the format of the Friday engineering meetings has changed. These changes, though subtle, are already improving